Are you ready to transform your pool into a stunning oasis? At Mainland Pool Service, they're a family-owned business committed to keeping your pool looking pristine all year round. They believe that pool care should be proactive, not reactive, which is why their skilled team handles everything from routine cleaning to complex issues with precision. They prioritize clear communication and personalized solutions to exceed your expectations. Join the Mainland Pool Service family today and experience the difference their expertise and dedication can bring to your relaxation retreat. Contact them now at mainlandpoolservice.com.
The Grizzlies are proud to team up with Prime Global Group, a company on a mission to redefine real estate investment. By leveraging deep experience, strategic insight, and robust resources, Prime Global Group is shaping a smarter, socially responsible future. Whether you're an investor or simply curious, now's the time to explore innovative strategies that align with your values. Join the movement and discover how you can be a part of this exciting evolution. Visit primeglobalgroup.net to learn more and connect with the team today. That's primeglobalgroup.net.
Tell me about being a rookie in the NBA. What has that been like so far?
The coolest part is, having a class with you they're all rookies. So if you go to an NBA game, you kind of know a lot of the guys that are rookies there because you went through that process of draft workouts, playing against them in college and stuff. So I think it's cool to have that camaraderie.
The Chris Vernon Show, live on weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Watching the Grizzlies is easy with FanDuel Sports Network. If you have cable or satellite, you're all set. Find us on your channel lineup. You can also use your TV provider login to watch games on the FanDuel Sports Network app. No cable or satellite? Subscribe directly to FanDuel Sports Network online. You can also watch on Prime Video by adding a FanDuel Sports Network subscription. Not sure where to start? Visit FanDuelSportsNetwork.com to learn more.
From the Built Ford Tough studio at FedEx Forum, it's the Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South, on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app. Now, here's your host, Gary Parrish.
All right. I'm here. My name is Gary Parrish. I'm speaking to you from Midtown Manhattan, New York City. Bennett Doyle back in Memphis producing the program. Glad he's with me. Glad you're with me. Hope you're getting through the day best you can. And I hope you're ready to talk about professional basketball in Europe because your Memphis Grizzlies have landed in Berlin. They have practiced in Berlin. According to head coach Thomas Isilo, John Morant did practice with the team earlier today, and there is some indications that he could be available when the Grizzlies and Magic play in Berlin on what will be Thursday night there, but Thursday afternoon here. We'll dive into it momentarily. First, though, quickly, let me set today's schedule for you. The next segment, in about 20 minutes, I'm going to be joined by Michael Wallace, senior editor, Grind City Media. He, of course, is in Berlin with the Grizzlies. He was at practice earlier today, conducting interviews afterwards. Nobody better to update us on all things John Morant and Grizzlies than somebody with boots on the ground in Berlin. That's Michael Wallace. He's going to join us live from Europe. He'll be here in the next segment. Finish talking to Michael Wallace. We will take a break. Come back. Do 5 more things you need to know, at which point we'll discuss 5 previously undiscussed stories. Among them, final score, Texans 30, Steelers 6. Was that Mike Tomlin's last game in Pittsburgh? Was that Aaron Rodgers' last game in the NFL? I'm going to ask Bennett both of those questions. We'll do that in about 40 minutes. Penny Hardaway held his weekly radio show last night. Among other things, he apologized to Tiger fans for the effort his team played with on Sunday's loss at Florida Atlantic. I'll read you the full quote. We'll do that in just a bit. Big night of college basketball on tap tonight. Game of the night, number 2 Iowa State at Kansas inside Allen Fieldhouse. Is KU still KU? If so, you might want to win this game. I'll give you some interesting numbers about the program and its slide in recent years under Bill Self. We'll do that a little later on in the show. Brooks Koepka is returning to the PGA Tour, and a few other big names who also jumped to live have an opportunity to join him. This could be the end of Live Golf if certain current Live golfers play their cards a certain way. I'll explain to you what's going on there. We'll do that in the third segment. And the Celtics lost to the 9-win Pacers last night. And afterwards, Boston head coach Joe Mazzulla, as he sometimes does, got super weird in his post-game press conference. We'll play his post-game press conference for you. We'll do that during a segment we call 5 More Things You Need to Know. Then we'll eventually do GP's carryout, and we will call it a day. So that's the rundown. We got a lot to get to, but I did want to start with your Memphis Grizzlies because we're now just 2 days away from your Memphis Grizzlies playing their first game in Europe in nearly 20 years. Grizz Magic Thursday, 1 p.m. Central on Prime Video. It's the NBA Berlin Game 2026 inside Uber Arena. The get-in price right now, $230. I'm certain there will be Ja Morant jerseys in the building. I'm confident Ja Morant will be in the building, but I can't say with any degree of certainty whether Ja Morant will put on a Ja Morant jersey and play basketball in that building. Although, again, Tomas Isolo noted this morning that Ja did practice with the Grizzlies today and appears to be on track to maybe, just maybe, be available Thursday against the Magic. Big Ben Bennett, it's good to see you on this, I guess we're going to call it a Tuesday morning. The status report from @GrizzliesPR should publish tomorrow. Ja Morant will be on it, but under what word? Out, doubtful, questionable, or probable? Predicted. Under which word will Ja Morant's name fall on the next Grizzlies status report?
I'll say questionable. I'll say he will be sitting at questionable for the game on Thursday. Doesn't that sound right to you?
I think questionable is a reasonable place for him to be. And, hey, let's go ahead and predict it. Ja Morant plays Thursday for the Memphis Grizzlies against the Orlando Magic. Yes or no?
I mean, all signs are starting to point towards yes. It looks like he might give it a go, which is really weird considering how this past week has gone. Man, I want to say, like, just as we're getting towards talking about this game and this big, spotlight for the franchise, it is so unfortunate that report came out on Friday. Like, this week should be about the Grizzlies in Berlin, and it's like, yeah, it's obviously about that, but like, it's all centered around Ja Morant trade rumors too. Like, it's kind of unfortunate.
Well, I think it's reasonable to assume that things had been building to that point that we got to on Friday, had been building toward that point for a little while. And I don't think this is one of those things where Shams finally got to a place where he felt comfortable through a million different sources reporting that the Grizzlies are now, for the first time ever, open to entertaining trade packages for Ja Morant. I think more likely all parties involved got to a place where they decided it's time to do this and let it be known and get it all out there. I don't think anybody was surprised when that news dropped on Friday. Let me be clear. Like, I know some fans might have been surprised and, but like, do I think the Grizzlies front office and or Ja Morant's camp were blindsided by that report when it dropped on Friday? Absolutely not. I think they were more likely sitting around waiting for it to drop at any minute because everybody knew it was on the way. That's so. Sure, I understand the sentiment. Like, man, it'd be nice to just be talking about look how much fun the Grizzlies look like they're having in Europe, as opposed to how much longer is Ja Morant going to be a member of the franchise. But this is where we're at. And all the reporting suggests that it had been building to this point for a while. And though I guess there's always a chance things could get turned back around, don't ever forget, once upon a time, Kobe Bryant was insistent he would never play for the Lakers again. He was asking for a trade and wanted to be done. That got smoothed over. There was a Pau Gasol trade. He won multiple championships with the Lakers. Going forward, never played for another franchise again. So, that's a real thing that happened, which suggests it could always happen again. But most indications right now are that we are more likely than not in the final weeks of the Ja Morant experience in Memphis. But based on what the head coach said this morning, there's at least a chance that he could play in Europe with the Grizzlies, which makes sense for a variety of reasons. It appears that he's going to be healthy enough to play, or at least is on track to be healthy enough to play. And with few exceptions, if you're healthy enough to play, you probably should. And B, regardless of where Ja Morant calls home going forward, the Ja Morant brand is still a big thing. And you might not want to pass on the opportunity to have the Ja Morant brand. Regardless of how the Grizzlies feel about you or you feel about the Grizzlies at this point in time, the Ja Morant brand on a big stage in Berlin, on a big stage in London, on a Prime Video stage, that's probably not an opportunity you want to pass on if you don't have to pass on it. So I'll ask Mike Wallace in the next segment what he thinks. But at this point, I think I would assume Ja Morant plays on Thursday for the Memphis Grizzlies for the first time in, I guess, what would be 6 games, because he has missed the past 5 with what's officially been described as a right calf contusion. You're on board with me, Ja Morant? You think he probably plays on Thursday?
Yeah, I would think so. And I think Mike's probably going to have an update for us in the next segment. But yeah, it's. I mean, the fact that he made the trip to Berlin, I mean, suggests that like he's a part of this until he's not, and he's gonna be a part of it, right? And that's playing basketball.
And I'm always hesitant to ask Michael Wallace too specific of questions about traveling with the team, because I think, and you might know this better than I, a Tennessee Titans reporter on some level got in trouble with the franchise for repeating something that he had heard on the team plane, and he was subsequently banned from the team plane and had to apologize for it, like raised his hand and said, hey, I messed up, I shouldn't have done that. So I'm always hesitant to ask Mike, like, so what was it like at the hotel, or what was it like on the plane, because that's supposed to be a sacred place and you don't violate the privacy that should come with that. But man, I wonder what that flight was like, because that's a long flight.
That is a long flight. I've done that flight.
I've done that flight. It's a long flight. I did it on a commercial airline instead of a private jet, and we had to lay over somewhere. So I assume my travel to Berlin was different than the Grizzlies. But I mean, I don't even want to. I just would be. I would. You know how you can have like a Ring camera and on your front door, and every once in a while people come up to your front door and they don't necessarily know you're watching them, but they're just sort of being normal. They've been doing exactly what they do because they're comfortable, because they don't understand that a camera's on them, but you're sort of like, looking in on it from above. I would like to have a bunch of Ring cameras on that plane from Memphis to Berlin, just like who's sitting with whom, who's talking with whom, are people laughing or not, is it quiet or fun, are people playing cards, or is everybody isolated? I would just, because this must be a weird time where you go into a season with high hopes and then very quickly it gets off the rails, and before you know it, the guy who was supposed to be the face of the franchise for a decade plus is now reportedly probably on his way out. But in the meantime, let's take a trip to Europe together. It's kind of weird. It's like imagine you're married, right? You've been married for 7-8 years, and you are getting a divorce. All right. It's just been nasty and it's over, and you both know it's time to move on. And like you're signing the paperwork February 5th. All right. You've already decided this is done. But hey, in the meantime, you want to go to Europe together? Spend a week in Europe together? Like, that would be weird, right? But that is on some level what is happening here. I know it's not apples. I know it's not apples to apples, but it's awkward. At the very least, I think we could reasonably assume it's an awkward situation.
I mean, they do say Europe changes people.
Does it?
I've heard that. Haven't you heard that before? Like, isn't that what people do? Like when they're looking for to self-reflect and have epiphanies on life. Like, don't they go to Europe?
I mean, maybe. I usually just go because it's just this fun to get into a different culture and see different places and go places I've never been. I never put so much pressure on a continent to change me.
Yeah.
I don't know that
it changes people. It changed me. Did it change you?
I don't feel like I changed that much coming back from Europe.
I think it changed JB. I think it changes people.
I I think I might have put on a few pounds, probably.
Mm-hmm.
It changed in that way. But outside of that, in all seriousness, let me stop joking around for a minute. I do think that traveling, seeing the world, helps you better understand the world and makes it feel more real when you hear about things going on in Ukraine or Venezuela or Israel or Gaza. Like if you've never been to Ukraine and you hear about Kyiv is under attack, it's like, well, I guess that's a place in another part of the world where they don't even speak our language. So, like, good luck to them. But if you've been there, if you vacation there, and you see a building where you had lunch one day and it's now bombed out, it feels more real. And so I do think seeing the world, and I understand not everybody can do it, but if you have the means to do it, the opportunity to do it, seeing the world does make the world seem smaller and help you, I think, better appreciate that even if we do, as people, live in different places and often speak different languages and even worship in different ways, there's some common decency to folks all over this world, and it's easier to understand that and appreciate it if you've been around different cultures, immersed yourself in different cultures. Just a couple of years ago, Kelly and I went to Majorca, Spain, and at the resort, I mean, you get it's people from all over the world, like genuinely, and we happened to be set up at the pool next to this family from Saudi Arabia, and it was a husband, wife, and 2 kids. And I don't know what your stereotypes might be about Saudi Arabia or Saudi Arabians. To be clear, right now I'm making no commentary on that country or anything else other than to tell you I know people have thoughts about what men from there must be like, what women from there must be like, what kids from there must be like. And I'm just telling you, we sit there with them all day long. And it felt like we were talking to an American family. These little boys from Saudi Arabia knew as much about the Memphis Grizzlies as my little boys knew about the Memphis Grizzlies. They were talking to me about John Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. And it just sort of normalized, at the very least, not that, but just made it easier to understand. Yeah, like, there are different cultures in different places, but these people that are like sitting right next to me, they seem very normal, and that's a man who loves his wife and a woman who loves her husband and parents who love their kids, and it felt very normal. And without traveling the world and seeing different places, it can be more challenging to pick up on that type of stuff. So I do believe it's neat to make these kinds of trips. I don't know that anybody on the Grizzlies roster is going to come back changed the way you did, Bennett, but as always, we'll see. I know what Europe has done to Michael Wallace. I don't know if it's changed him. I'll ask him, of course, but it has made him put on extra clothing. Kyra, do you have this picture of Mike's first stand-up hit live from Berlin? Check this out, buddy. He's bundled up. It looks like he's got snow flurries and all sorts of precipitation he's battling. Very, very frigid. I went out and checked. In Berlin today, high of 38, low of 28. It is cold, dark, wet, and depressing. And we'll get to Mike in just a minute. But it's funny, when I saw that picture of him, it's a 2-minute hit. You can find it on his Twitter feed. It reminded me that, like, literally this time last year, our oldest son was living in Berlin. He had taken what amounted to, look at Michael Wallace there all bundled up. He had taken, our oldest son, what amounted to an internship in Berlin, and he and his girlfriend moved there, and they loved Berlin. They loved traveling Europe. They got to see and do a lot of things. But if you ask him for his lasting memory of being there, it is that it was dark and cold and wet. the entire time, and he loves being outside. And one of the main reasons he was looking forward to getting back to the United States was just to see the sun. Like Berlin was just dark and cold the entire winter.
Sounds great.
It looks exactly like what Michael Wallace was dealing with in that stand-up. So I know he's inside now and set up and ready to update us on all things John Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies in Europe. So let's take a break, come back. Michael Wallace on the other side. It's the Gary Parrish Show presented by Ortho South.
Southland Casino Hotel is helping you navigate to Santa. Win your share of over $550,000 in free play and a brand new Lincoln. Here Comes Santa takes flight on Saturday, November 1st, when you can begin earning entries. And don't forget the grand finale drawings on Saturday, November 29th and Saturday, December 27th to win a share of over $40,000 in free play or a brand new Lincoln. Win big during Here Comes Santa, only at Southland Casino Hotel.
Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball, but the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board, a class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GVWR.
The Grizzlies are the one thing everyone in the family can agree on. So join us every Sunday this season for Sunday Family Fun Days. It's a steal at just $35 and includes a ticket to the game, a $10 food voucher, post-game free throws on the court, and a meet and greet with mascot Grizz. Space is limited, so grab your tickets now for this unique experience your family won't soon forget. Go to grizzlies.com/Sunday and have a fun day. How would you describe your rookie season so far?
Growth. The best way to grow is to be thrown in the fire, and I think coaches and all of my coaches have done a good job with that, because I remember having a conversation with him. He was like, the fastest way and the best way you're going to learn is if I throw you in the deep end and you try to keep your head above water.
Tune in to the Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt, live every weekday at 8 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans. Want exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you? Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
Welcome back to Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South. I'm in New York City. Ben and Doyle back in the Built Ford Tough studio, downtown Memphis. And joining us live from Berlin, Germany, it's Michael Wallace, senior editor, Grind City Media. Boots on the ground in Europe in preparation for the Grizzlies game against the Magic Thursday, 1 o'clock Central Prime Video. Michael Wallace, you look warmer than when I saw you on Twitter earlier. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great, man. I'm glad because that day, yesterday when we got here and I shot that scene Saturday, it was 14 degrees. Sleet was flowing right into my face, man. I was bundled up, but it was still ice cold out here, man. So it was all good. I feel much better today.
The only thing I have similar, it's funny thinking back to this, is there was a hurricane in Houston at some point within the past 10 years or so. And I think Amanda Guerra, who's now a star with CBS Sports, was supposed to be the sideline reporter on like a Memphis something football game. And she couldn't get out of Houston. So they called me and they're like, yo, you think you could do sideline on a football game? I said, yeah, it's just like, asking coaches what's going through their head. That's the main thing sideline reporters do. You ask coaches what were going through their head when something happened. Then you ask a player what was going through their head when something happened. And then if somebody gets hurt, you try to figure it out. That's dumbing it down a little bit. I shouldn't even do that. But yeah, I said, yes, I could do it. Give me a shot. So then whatever weather was in Houston had made its way to Memphis. And so for 3 hours, I'm outside as
as a sideline reporter. Cold, wet, I mean, real downpour. And like the best way I can explain it to you is after a while, you just get used to it. Be like if you just stood in a shower for 3 hours, at some point you just don't even feel the water hitting you anymore. But that's what it was like. It was like standing in a cold shower for 3 hours watching a football game. Outrageous. But I'm glad you survived it. You looked cold, but you looked good.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. But I tell you what, I was out there not 3 hours. I was out there probably 15 minutes, and I couldn't wait to get back inside. And here's a little sidebar to that, man. While we're out there shooting that, Coach Tuomas Isolo comes out, and he goes on a 5-mile run. Right? It's just like in the middle of all of that. What you saw me in, he went out there and did a 5-mile run because, this is a place where he's familiar. He spent 4 years here when he was earlier in his life growing up. And then he obviously coached in Germany for 7 years as well, too. So he was used to it. The rest of us were like, hold up, man, this is different. This is different.
So I know you've been popping around. You're like 6 hours ahead of me, 7 hours ahead of Memphis. I know you've got clips together. You've sent them to Kyra. Yeah. If you don't mind, I'm going to let you play producer for a second. Set yourself up here and just, not many people are out there getting video of the Grizzlies in Europe, but you are one of them. I want to see it. You tell me what you got.
Well, absolutely, man. I was at the Grizzlies, had their first full practice today at Max Schmeling Hall. Max Schmeling was a great German boxer who upset Joe Louis back in the 30s. And the Grizzlies went through their workout, full team workout. Both Ja Morant and Zach Edey were with the team in different capacities at the workout from that standpoint. And, they're absolutely excited about the opportunity to play here. They worked out of some of the cobwebs, as you can see Ja Morant right there doing some dribbling of the basketball. He did participate in today's practice, and his availability will be determined in the coming days. We'll see how he progresses from that standpoint. But I had a chance after the workout to catch up with Coach Tuomas Isolo and Jaren Jackson Jr. with their thoughts on Ja Morant. Obviously, man, what's been going on here over the last couple of weeks has been a topic of international discussion, and with the trade rumors circulating around Ja Morant. But both of them said and confirmed that he is present, he is locked in with the team, and you don't want to take Ja Morant's presence for granted in any kind of capacity. So here's Coach Tuomas Isolo and then Jaren Jackson Jr. on Ja.
Yeah, he's progressing in the practices. He's already able to do a lot of the parts in practice, so looking good, the progress.
Is there pressure on him to play given what this means in the stage here and he is a star player?
I don't think there's pressure from that side. I think it's more that doesn't match the timeline, that everybody feels comfortable with him being out there and being 100%.
I mean, since he's been in the league, I love when he's on the court. He makes the game easier for me and for all of us. Like, you see what he can do when he's on the court. He's special. I don't think anyone can stay in front of him, and when he has a head of steam, no one can jump higher than him. I mean, he just reads the floor well. There's so many things you can think of when you talk about the great point guard, so many attributes he has. Like, it goes without saying. I want him in every game. He makes the game easier for me. It's a blessing, but I don't take that for granted. I understand everything.
So I explained earlier that I'm always hesitant to ask you about moods and vibes and all that stuff because you have access to these players and this team in ways that most people don't. You're at the hotels, you're on the planes, you're in the hallways and stuff. But I do think that is what everybody is wondering, like, what is this like, to have a very public thing happen on Friday and then almost immediately have to travel 9 hours on a plane together? I would assume it would be awkward, but I don't know. Just to the best of your ability, what you're comfortable with, what are the vibes around the team right now?
I'll tell you what, man, there's some level of numbness to all of the national stuff and all of the speculation and everything that's going on around these guys. I think Jaren Jackson Jr. made a great point. He was asked a little bit after that clip that I showed you, does he have to sort of brace for the impending trade whenever it comes, if it comes? And he was like, listen, man, this guy's still with us. He was just on the court with us. As a matter of fact, he's right over there in the next room. You're asking me about him as if it's posthumous or he's already gone or something. So these guys
guys understand that this is the business side of it, and the Grizzlies and John Morant are both doing a professional job of going about their business here in London. There's an opportunity here for the Grizzlies to represent the NBA and Memphis on a global stage, and there's an opportunity for John Morant to represent himself along with the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA on a global stage. And if he's feeling good and he goes out there and play, it's only going to be a good thing for the Grizzlies in terms of where he is. So the mood is what you would expect. There was some jet lag, so it's a combination of the jet lag, getting their bodies back, getting their clocks where they needed to be productive. But fortunately, they have today, they have tomorrow, and then Thursday is the game day. So we'll see. One other thing I'll add to that. This is a team that also just last summer traded Desmond Bane, who was one of the big three in Memphis as well. So John Morant went through that with the team. Jaren Jackson Jr. went through that with the team as well, too. So that kind of set these guys up to understand that there's a business side of basketball and then there's a production side of basketball. And both of those things are kind of coming together right now, doing a very, very intriguing week over here in Europe.
According to the report from Friday, it is possible that the Grizzlies would try to move forward with John Morant if a trade package doesn't emerge that satisfies them. Famously, Kobe Bryant once said he was never going to play for the Lakers again. You lived through this. He stayed in L.A., finished his career there. Sometimes people think they're going to break up, but they end up staying together. Do you believe that's possible here? I only ask because people ask me, is there any way this could get turned around and actually become what it is all of us hoped it would be, which is John Morant being a healthy and happy, successful face of the franchise for a decade plus? Or in your mind, is this over?
You know, is there a path that exists to this being reconciled and then both sides understanding we're better off together? Yes, I do believe that. Because I do believe that John Morant loves Memphis in his heart. I do believe he loves being around his teammates. Structurally, there's some things that he sees differently than what the coaching staff may see. I understand that. I've seen that happen with all elite stars at some level or another. Does this team have the wherewithal to work through that? We'll see. But right now, it's kind of there's some imminence to what's going on around here right now. You want to get to your best. We saw this team go through a very, very difficult process last March, with Taylor Jenkins coming down the stretch, with the team playing a little bit better at that time. And it didn't work out. Somebody had to go. It was the coach at that time. And right now, we'll see what happens. But, having said all of those things, I won't believe that this is going to end until I actually see it end, right? The Grizzlies aren't desperate to move on without John Morant. They have to make a deal that's smart, that also continues to set them up, just like the deal for Desmond Bane did. And if they can't get something like that they're comfortable with, then you move on to the next deadline. You got February 5th as a trade deadline, and then you have the summer. But again, keep in mind, man, John Morant still has 2 years left under his contract. So this is not an emergency situation. Trae Young had 1 year left where he can opt out from that standpoint. So he had a little bit more leverage. So we'll see. Now, if I was a betting guy, which I'm not, I would say all the trade winds blow to this thing happening within the next week or two. But if it delays or stalls out, then we'll see where it heads from there.
I don't know that it's realistic to reconcile and move forward positively. Like, I don't know if that's just a dream at this point, but I do genuinely believe, like, if you could write your own story, the best John Morant story you could write is him reestablishing himself as a star in Memphis. And the best Memphis Grizzlies story you could write would be the Grizzlies reestablishing themselves as a Western Conference contender with a healthy and happy John Morant. It is true that the best thing for everybody would be if they could figure this out, but we've been saying that for years now, and I think it's reasonable to be skeptical. This is just not something that can get worked out or will get worked out. I, like you, am anticipating this being done at some point over the next week or two. As always, we'll see. Let me ask you about Zach Edey. He's on the trip. He's walking around. We should get an official update on him at some point soon, I think. But what's the latest on Zach Edey's possible return to the Grizzlies rotation?
Yeah, I would expect some kind of update on where he is in this process to come at some point during the next day or two. Certainly with these two games, you want to, after a month with him sort of cooling that ankle down, he's in that reevaluation window. I know he's gone off to several second opinions and medical experts to figure out what the next steps could be or should be. And so the team is collecting that information and putting it together and charting that plan forward. So do I expect Zach Edey to be on the court this week? No, I don't. I think this is going to be okay. He might need a couple weeks to kind of rev back up, and we'll see where it is. But I do expect some kind of announcement one way or another to come in the coming days while we're over here in Europe for sure. Same thing with, you probably hear the same thing along the same lines with Ty Jerome as well, too. Ty Jerome was another guy. He was on the practice court with the Grizzlies today as they were breaking up and doing different things. So he is progressing in his sort of rehab and recovery. We haven't seen Ty Jerome all season yet, but he is a guy that is doing more and more with the team as the days move forward. So those two guys are the next two I think we're going to be hearing something about relatively in short order.
Last thing before I get you out of here. When this event trip was first announced, we immediately pointed to, oh, wow, it's the Magic. Oh, wow, it's Desmond Bane. Unfortunate we won't get him back in FedEx Forum, but that's going to be a big stage for the Grizzlies to play against Desmond Bane for the first time. Now, because of the John Morant development, everything's been focused on that aspect of this and very little about Desmond Bane. But it is true, in 2 days, Desmond Bane is going to play against the franchise that selected him and the franchise that he emerged as a legitimate high-level NBA player with. Do we have a sense for how he feels about Memphis, about the Grizzlies, about his former teammates, about the front office that moved him to Orlando? Where is Desmond Bane at in his relationship with this city and franchise?
Well, I can tell you this much. Professionally, he's in a happier place. The Orlando Magic were waiting to take the court as the Grizzlies were coming off the court today at Max Schmeling Hall. And so they had their media session and then their practice right after the Grizzlies earlier today. So, I didn't get a chance to stick around with that, but I did see some of the NBA's content. He waited. Desmond Bane and the Grizzlies waited. Some of the Grizzlies waited for Desmond Bane to come into the court. And there was a big embrace with him and Jaren Jackson Jr. He dapped up some of the players that were still there. And, obviously those are his brothers, man. He still feels strongly about them. He absolutely wants to kick their ass. Santi Aldama said that they want to kick his ass. And because he's going to be talking about it. So they get two chances right now to sort of have this knockdown, drag out type brawl between these two teams. There's a lot of guys in this game that have a lot to prove, and both organizations have a lot to prove right now as well, too. So Desmond is fond of his years in Memphis, but by the time he had to embrace the trade, it was brought to him. He didn't ask to be traded. It was just an opportunity for the Grizzlies to stockpile some assets and move forward. And once the shock settled in, he embraced Orlando from day one, and from every account that I've gotten from the Magic, they've embraced him as well. And he's having an all-star type impact with those guys this year, and we'll see it on the court this week.
That's wonderful stuff. You're doing great work, Michael Wallace. Make sure you're following him on Twitter at MyMicCheck. You're getting all his work, grindcitymedia.com. That's grindcitymedia.com. Stay warm, buddy. Travel safely. I appreciate your time as always.
Hey, anytime, man. You travel safely too, man.
All right, I'll see you. That's Michael Wallace, Grind City Media, live in Berlin in advance of Grizz Magic Thursday, 1 o'clock Central on Prime Video. When we come back, turn our attention to Monday Night Football. Wasn't the most exciting game we've ever had, but it could have been a historic one. Texans over the Steelers. Was it the last game for Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh? Was it the last game for Aaron Rodgers in the NFL? I'm going to see if Bennett can answer both of those questions next. Gary Parrish Show presented by Ortho South.
Grizzlies fans, dunks, dimes, and no-looks are great on TV, but nothing compares to catching them IRL. And that starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight in person. From seeing your favorite Grizzly stars up close to hearing the squeak of the sneakers on the hardwood. Put that jersey collection to use and get tickets at Ticketmaster. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside, Memphis. Grizzlies fans know it's the team that gives you the edge. Big River Steel does too. And much like the Grizzlies have recruited legendary talent, we want you to be part of our team. Are you ready to be part of something legendary? Then visit www.bigriversteel.com. That's www.bigriversteel.com.
Grizz Nation, Friday nights just got a whole lot better. Introducing Buckets and Brews, the ultimate way to tip off your weekend. Every Friday this season, grab a terrace level ticket to the Grizz game and 2 12-ounce Miller Lights for just $55. Get great seats, cold brews, and Grizzlies basketball. It's everything you need to start your weekend off right. So get the deal that's too cold to hold. Go to grizzlies.com/Friday to lock in your tickets today.
Grizz Nation gets set for tip-off 1 hour before every Grizzlies home game with the warm-up show. Get the latest news, notes, and analysis live from courtside at FedEx Forum.
Who's going to be the tougher team that rebounds and prevents second-chance opportunities?
Join me, Lang Whitaker, along with Michael Wallace, Jessica Benson, and other personalities from Grind City Media, Memphis, and around the NBA. 1 hour before every home game, live at Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
Nate Bargatze.
Look, I say a lot of dumb stuff. I try to keep it in front of large groups. Seems to go better that way.
Big Dumb Eyes World Tour.
When you say something dumb one-on-one, it's a lot for that person. I'll say it, then I can just feel that they feel the weight of my life on their shoulders.
Tickets and info at NateBargatze.com. Don't miss the Big Dumb Eyes World Tour. Nate Bargatze.
Orthopedic injuries can be unpredictable, unforeseen, and unscheduled, and Ortho South understands this better than anyone. Since your injuries don't make appointments, you don't need to either. That's because Ortho South welcomes walk-ins during the weekdays and the evenings, and even on Saturdays. So next time an unforeseen injury makes an unscheduled appearance in your life, visit orthosouth.org to find your nearest urgent care location. Just walk in, and Ortho South will take care of everything, especially you. Learn more at orthosouth.org. That's OrthoSouth at orthosouth.org. Now I got 5 more things you need to know.
Number 1.
Final score, Texans 30, Steelers 6 in Pittsburgh. C.J. Stroud advances in the NFL playoffs. Aaron Rodgers does not. Could have been the last game for Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh. Could have been the last game for Aaron Rodgers in the NFL. Bennett, let's take those situations in the order that I set them up. Yes or no? Mike Tomlin is your week 1 coach in Pittsburgh next season.
I'll say yes. Just because I think it would be stupid of them to move on from him. I think listen, I know that the playoff success has not been there lately. I think a lot of that has to do with their revolving door at quarterback. But I still think he's a great coach. Like, I think they had a good – listen – that Texans defense is unbelievable. Like, the Steelers should have won that game easily. C.J. Stroud had, 3 or 4 turnovers in the game last night? Like, that Texans defense is that good that they were able to win that game easily last night. Because I thought the Steelers defense played pretty well in their own right. It's just, like, the Texans just had them in a good spot all night. So, yeah, I think he's back just because I think it would be stupid for the Steelers not to bring him back.
I think he's back, in part for the exact same reason. You also start to, look around. You go, okay, if we get rid of this guy, who is the guy we're going to replace him with? And when we do that, are we going to look up and be happier about our coaching situation? I think if you run through that exercise, you might lean toward, let's just stick with the future Hall of Famer that we have, who is nearly universally respected. Like, is that true? You follow the NFL closer than I. Is Mike Tomlin universally respected? Like, dude, are there any anti-Mike Tomlin people out there?
When I'm seeing, I don't think so. First off, I don't think so. And when I'm seeing this stuff, like, I know it's been kind of brewing all season, but like, he would immediately be the number 1 coach I would want to go hire for the Titans if he became available. Like, it 100%. Would surpass everyone by far, just because he's a culture changer, and that's what the Titans need right now. And so, I respect the hell out of the guy.
Like, that's where I'm at. Like, if he were available and I were running the Titans, I want Mike Tomlin to come in and set my culture. Mm-hmm. Like, he is an impressive man. Like, I feel like I would like Mike Tomlin to coach my football team, run my football organization. I would also like Mike Tomlin to be my next door neighbor. He strikes me as that type of guy. I think I don't know Mike Tomlin other than I believe I was around him some when he was an assistant at the University of Memphis and I was bouncing around campus. I don't know him, but he strikes me as somebody I would like and be impressed by. What it kind of feels like there is, if you remember, not exactly apples to apples, but if you remember the Rick Barnes situation at Texas, it never got bad. Never. In his last year at Texas, he went to the NCAA tournament. It never got bad there. But it wasn't what it once was. It had fallen off a little. Was still good, respectable, successful, but had fallen off a little, and he had just been there forever. And Texas kind of got to a point where they were like, man, we don't know if our next coach is going to be as good as you. But we just feel like this has gotten a little stale. It's been a long time. We just want to try something different. It feels like there's a segment of the Steelers organization or fan base that just wants something different, even if they know it might not be the best thing. They just want something different. After 17 years of hearing the same guys answer every question, after every loss, after every win, after a while, people do tend to just want something different. And if they make a change in Pittsburgh, that's going to be the motivating factor. We just want something different. But Aaron Rodgers was pretty clear last night. It is bananas that you would have this guy on the hot seat. He's like, I've been around a lot of football coaches. This guy should not be on the hot seat. You're lucky to have him. You should not be consider moving him. And if I were running the Pittsburgh thing, I would those words would sit with me, and it would prevent me from pulling the trigger on this thing. I would keep Mike Tomlin. Now to Aaron Rodgers. Was that it last night? Was that it?
I think, I saw somebody else suggest this, and I kind of tend to agree. I would be willing to bet that he is not on an NFL roster to start next season, but we know how quickly guys get hurt and teams need quarterbacks. I could see it being a situation where he signs with a team sometime during next season to try.
That would
to
make sense.
Yeah.
I mean, there was just a job opportunity for Phillip Rivers in the year 2025.
Exactly.
If there was a job opportunity for Phillip Rivers in 2025, if he wants it, there will be a job opportunity for Aaron Rodgers in 2026. And if you don't want to deal with mini camps and mandatory this and mandatory that, buddy, just stay in shape as best you can on your own time. Go into the dark like you like to do. At some point, somebody will. If you don't want to go through all that stuff, just you can announce a retirement. You don't have to announce anything. Just be an unsigned free agent into November. And wait for somebody to be desperate. And I wonder if Aaron Rodgers can still throw it a little bit. That opportunity would present itself to him if he wants to let it play out that way.
Now, the other thing is he has taken some, even last night, he took a monster hit last night, and he's gotten hurt a little bit throughout this year. He did have to miss a game or two. So it's, I don't know. Maybe it could also just be I can't, at my age, I can't do this anymore because my body's not going to hold up.
Yeah, and the last impression is the one that can sort of sit with you. And he got hit last night and struggled last night. But like you said, struggled last night against an incredible defense. I was watching the Peyton and Eli feed here in the hotel room, and Peyton was really good talking about this. They're just good. They don't. That show is done almost in a. It's not like a professional television show. No. Like Eli's literally reading questions off of a piece of paper that somebody clearly typed for him to read off of a piece of paper when he's interviewing J.J. Watt. So it's not done in any sort of traditional, we got to make this look sharp. But it's just two smart football people talking about what they're seeing, and then they bring in somebody and chop it up with them, and then they all talk about what they're seeing, and they just see things that you wouldn't see because they played quarterback in the NFL and you didn't. So Peyton was talking about the Texans defense, and he said this is the type of defense. He compared it to the old Tampa Bay defense that he used to play against. He said it's the type of defense that during the week on film, there ain't much to it. There ain't much to figure out. They're not really trying to confuse you. They're not throwing things at you haven't seen. the prep for this defense is, relatively speaking, pretty simple. Like, I don't need to see a lot of this. I know I got it. I know exactly what's in front of me. I know exactly what they're doing. He said, and then you snap the ball, and it's like, Jesus Christ, I can't get this where I want to get it. Nothing is, like, there's no window here. We can't run the ball. It's just, it looks easy, but you get out there and you can't do anything against it, or at least it's very difficult.
He, like, even last night, he was trying to find Calvin Austin a couple times for, like, deep throws, and Calvin Austin beats everybody. Like, it's and they were just,
there was the one where
they right on his heels. Yeah.
There was the one also where the cameras caught Rodgers. He was pissed at Calvin Austin.
I know,
because
I saw that.
It sounded like he didn't maybe he broke off a route when he shouldn't have, or it was a miscommunication on some level, and Aaron Rodgers seemed to think it was Calvin Austin's fault. But that's what that type of this is what Peyton was talking about. That's what this type of defense does. It gets in your head. It things that should be there aren't. You start making mistakes that you otherwise wouldn't make. You start feeling things you otherwise wouldn't feel. And they were terrific last night. I don't know where they go from here, but they made that game not competitive and might have ended Aaron Rodgers' career. So here's our predictions. Mike Tomlin coaches the Steelers next season. Aaron Rodgers does play again in the NFL, but probably not in week 1. It's a place to be determined. Is that where we're at?
That's where I'm at.
I'm comfortable with that position, Bennett. We'll see if we can be right about it.
Number 2.
Penny Hardaway held his weekly radio show last night, one day after his Tigers lost to Florida Atlantic in a underwhelming performance, and among other things at the radio show, he apologized to Tiger fans. Here's the quote. It was really a bad game all around from a hustle standpoint. Definitely didn't represent how we wanted to represent. We owe an entire apology to our Tiger fans. I appreciate you guys showing up tonight, but that was just totally unacceptable yesterday. We got out hustled. We got out scrapped. We didn't fight in the second half. It was just very, very disappointing, end quote. Bennett, you're a Tiger fan, so let me ask you, do you accept Penny Hardaway's apology?
I do. I do accept his apology.
I do too.
I don't know if he's the one that needs to be apologizing, but yes, I do accept.
I accept Penny's apology as well, and hopefully that can be a teaching moment and a turning point in the season. We'll see, but it just sort of speaks to how messy this has gotten. Below 500, worst ranking that you've ever had in KenPom, under Penny Hardaway, possibly headed for 8 years in the books with only one NCAA tournament win. And it's weird, like, I see the comments sometimes about this stuff, and like sometimes I think people are just like living on another planet. Like, I literally saw somebody make a comment that said this is not on Penny. And I'm like, what are you, like, it's year 8. You ready for this? If you're in year 8 of anything, the person in charge of it in year 8, if it's going well, they are the reason. And if it's not, they are the reason. Like, it shouldn't be something to argue about. So if you want to argue that you shouldn't be having conversations about making a coaching change 1 year removed from your proudest alum winning an outright conference championship and a conference tournament and getting a 5 seed in the NCAA tournament, I'll listen to that.
I do, yeah, and I do want to say that, but yes. Go ahead.
I will listen to that because that's a reasonable point of view. What I would follow up with is, buddy, you better look at that attendance and you better figure out a way to get more people in there with this coach because right now this is not financially feasible. They fired Tubby Smith for attendance reasons, and the attendance inside FedEx Forum this season looks a lot like what that attendance looked like. So it is more complicated than he had a good season last season, so what are you talking about? This is a big multi-million-dollar business, and it is not being run well right now. And with the ever-changing landscape of college athletics, Memphis basketball has never been pushed to a more disadvantaged place. I can't stress this enough. We talked about it yesterday. When Penny Hardaway took this job, the Memphis basketball job was the type of job that could, by definition, recruit the best players in the country and signed the best recruiting classes in the country. Mike Krzyzewski's at Duke. John Calipari's at Kentucky. The number one recruiting class in America belongs to Penny Hardaway at Memphis. That is something that really happened twice. You ready for this? Impossible today. Impossible. Penny Hardaway could do everything you could want him to do and approach the job perfectly. Impossible to sign a number one recruiting class at the University of Memphis today. And the biggest reason is the conference affiliation. You could convince Penny Hardaway to play in the Great Midwest. You could convince Keith Lee to play in the Metro. You could convince Derrick Rose to play in Conference USA. You could convince Jalen Duren and James Wiseman to play in the American, a previous version of it. But, you know, the votes are in now. You can't keep the football player you want to keep more than any other out of the transfer portal. You can't keep the basketball player you want to keep more than any other out of the transfer portal. And you can't keep the women's soccer player you want to keep more than any other out of the transfer portal. Those are the three either best or biggest or most successful sports programs on that campus, and they all three lost players they clearly wanted to keep to the transfer portal after their most recent seasons. This job is very hard now. Not hard relative to the rest of the league. It should be easy relative to the rest of the league, which is part of the problem. You should never be losing to Florida Atlantic like that. You're spending 2-3 times more money on men's basketball than anybody else in your league. So maybe you ain't spending like Texas Tech or Louisville or Arkansas, but you are wildly outspending everybody else in the American. So you should be able to roll through this thing regardless of what your non-league looks like. But it has never been more challenging for any human to make men's basketball at the University of Memphis nationally relevant than it is right now. And so this is going to be tough to try to get this thing back to a good place. And there are people within the industry and honestly people on that campus who have wondered aloud and privately, but also aloud, whether Penny Hardaway is still the guy to get that done. There was no denying at one point he was the only sensible hire for the University of Memphis. He was the only sensible hire, and it was smart to do what they did. The question is it going to be smart to do it for a 9th season? And if this season doesn't get turned around in a dramatic way, those are the conversations they're going to have over on that campus. In the meantime, we'll just have to accept his apology and hope for better performances going forward. 89-78, that was the loss to Florida Atlantic. Memphis is now 7-8 overall, 2-1 in the American in the 80s at KenPom.
Number 3.
Big college basketball schedule on tap tonight. The biggest game, it'll happen at Allen Fieldhouse. Number 2, Iowa State at KU. Big game for Kansas, and not just because if they lose it, it'll be another loss, and if they win it, it'll be a big quad one win. It's because, like, if you want to talk about basketball programs that have slipped in recent years, Kansas is among the biggest examples. Clearly, they're still good. They ain't never missed the NCAA tournament under Bill Self. They're not going to miss it this year. They are still ranked in my top 25 and 1. But in Bill's first 20 years at Kansas, he won 16 Big 12 regular season championships and never finished lower than 3rd in the conference. Last 3 years, outside of the top 5 in the previous 2, right now projected to finish 6th with a 9-9 record. And after 2 decades of dominance in the league, if they do go 9-9 in the Big 12 this season, they will have gone 30-26 over a 56-game span over the past 3 years in the league they used to dominate. Iowa State's good. Iowa State's favored, but that's sort of my point. There was a time under Bill Self at Kansas where if Kansas was playing a home game, they were favored. Kansas playing a home game, you picked them. Who's the opponent? Doesn't matter. What do they rank? Doesn't matter. How many lottery picks they got? Doesn't matter. Kansas is at home. Bill Self is the coach. They will win. There was a time, and I don't think it's true anymore, but there was a time where this was a real thing. Scott Drew had lost more games inside Allen Fieldhouse as Baylor's coach than Bill Self had lost inside Allen Fieldhouse as Kansas's coach. And Kansas plays its home game at Allen Fieldhouse. In other words, to make sure you're understanding this, Scott Drew only coached there once a year. And over like a 9-year span, he had more losses at Allen Fieldhouse than Bill Self, because Bill Self never lost at Allen Fieldhouse. But tonight, they're underdogs inside Allen Fieldhouse. If you want to remind the country that you're still Kansas and Bill Self is still one of the best coaches in the world, this is the type of game you need to knock out.
By the way, how did I miss that Iowa State blasted #1 Purdue? Was that at Purdue or was that a neutral?
No, that was at Mackey Arena by 23 points.
Crazy, dude.
Oh, you ready for this? Largest margin of defeat for a #1 ranked team in the AP poll, in the history of the AP poll, at home. A home team ranked #1 had never lost.
That's a hell of a signature win right there.
But they're a legitimate national championship contender. Fun game tonight, Iowa State, Kansas. You'll be able to watch it on ESPN.
Number 4.
Brooks Koepka is back on the PGA Tour, which means Jenna Sims is going to be back at TPC Southwind this summer. Looking forward to that.
This is how it should be. Listen,
I agree. Jenna Sims should be out at TPC Southwind.
That goes without saying. I meant Brooks, though. Listen.
Okay. Yeah, him too.
Obviously, the live money was outrageous, and we know that and understand that, like, hey, when someone's throwing, like, wads of cash at you, like, that's pretty tempting. But, like, he was never happy. Like, he wanted to be on the PGA Tour. He's a PGA Tour guy.
You know, if you go back and review the timeline, he was hurt, and he was not playing well, and he was hurt, and suddenly, you know, at the time, PGA Tour, you know, yeah, Brooks has got a lot of sponsorship money, but that format is you got to show up, make cuts, win tournaments to make real money, and you're hurt and you're not playing well. Meantime, you've got the Saudis who are ready to give you hundreds of millions of dollars. And he has admitted, I took the money because I have a family, and man, I don't know if I'm ever going to be healthy again, and I don't know if I'm ever going to win consistently again. And like, this is generational wealth. This will take care of my children and their children and their children, and I'm just not in a position to walk away from this type of money. So he took it, but he was miserable the whole time, because it's like you go from playing on CBS in tournaments that you've been watching your whole life to playing on the CW in tournaments that are just made up. Nobody even knows they're happening. So he had announced his resignation from LIV in December to spend more time with his family, because on a serious note, they had a miscarriage at 16 weeks last year, and that is obviously a tough thing to go through. So he had announced he wanted to spend more time with his family, but most assumed that meant and try to get back on the PGA Tour, because being on the PGA Tour does keep you mostly in the continental United States, by definition, closer to your family. But there had been no established pathway back for PGA Tour players who had moved on to LIV. So they had to get on the phone and work this out. There's a board that features players, and, you know, emotions are high, because if you're Roy McIlroy, you know, you were offered all this money too. Probably more than anybody. Scottie Scheffler, if he wanted to get $300 million from LIV, he could have. And they stood by the PGA Tour. Mm-hmm. And the reason they stood by the PGA Tour, in part, is because they were told, like everybody else, if you leave, you ain't never coming back. So they said, okay. But now they're watching the guys who went and took $100 million, $200 million, $300 million. They get to come back?
That's not fair.
Now. That's not fair. I mean, if I'd have known you were going to let him come back, I would have taken $500 million from them. I mean, remember Tiger was offered like $900 million. What if you're Tiger Woods, don't you say, yo, man, I could have taken $900 million, come right back here 2 years later, 3 years later? This ain't right. So they had to talk through all of that, work through the emotions. But ultimately, and this is what I appreciate, they just landed on, let's do the smart thing. Hey, whatever happened, happened. But now we are in the business of doing what's best for the PGA Tour. Can we put our emotions aside and do what's best for the PGA Tour? So they got really creative and actually came up with a pathway back that I had never seen anybody speculate on before, but it's perfect because it does exactly what they're trying to do. So first things first, Brooks is going to have to make a $5 million charitable donation. That is nothing relative to what he got from LIV Golf, so that doesn't even matter. It's being described as huge financial penalties, but in reality, it's mostly huge theoretical financial penalties or just money that he might miss out on that he otherwise would get. So like there's like FedEx bonuses, like big bonuses, right? And so he's going to be ineligible for those for a period of time. And there's other things that he will be ineligible for a period of time. But like if he goes out and wins, you know, at TPC Scottsdale and they bring out that big check, like he gonna get to cash that. So it's not as financially devastating as it's been portrayed. It's mostly like, man, if you had this year without these restrictions on you, you could have made $85 million. Instead, you only made 50. You miss out on the possibility of all this extra money. But here's the key. This is where they got real smart with it. The only live golfers who are eligible to pursue a pathway back to the PGA Tour are people who have either won a major or the Players' Championship since 2022. So that's the first step. Am I eligible to try to return to the PGA Tour? Did you win a major championship or the Players since 2022? If you can't say yes to that, we ain't got nothing else to talk about. Have fun on your live tour if it continues to exist. You ain't coming back here. So who falls under that umbrella? 4 guys. Brooks Koepka, Bryson DeChambeau, Cam Smith, Jon Rahm. Those are the only 4 over there that are worth anything to your television partners right now. So you don't even allow the opportunity for any of the other guys to come back because they don't move the needle. You don't want them back anyway. So the only way you can get a pathway back is to have won a major or the Players' Championship since 2022. There's only 4 guys who qualify, and they're undeniable stars. So now if they want to come back, submit your application. You have a few weeks. That's the other thing. This is like a transfer portal window, if you want to think of it like college athletics. The PGA Tour announced yesterday, from this date to that date, if you want to come back, one of you other 3, submit your application and let's get it done. But if this deadline passes, the window passes, and we'll see you later. Reportedly, Jon Rahm has like a big contract that's still intact with LIV, so it might be complicated to work around. But Bryson DeChambeau is kind of a free agent, it appears, and can get out. We'll see what Cam Smith wants to do. But what's brilliant about this is, and I have, let me be clear, no insight into how these conversations go, regardless of where I work, because I don't matter in that way. But the PGA Tour's biggest television partner is CBS. And I always wondered why CBS Sports would be comfortable with, we signed this television agreement with you under the idea we were going to have Brooks Koepka on Sunday afternoon and Bryson DeChambeau on Sunday afternoon and Jon Rahm on Sunday afternoon, and now we don't have them. Figure out a way to get them back. Imagine if you're a television network and you bought a television show, right? There's this successful television show, Stranger Things. Like this, let's decide. Imagine CBS decided, we're going to buy Stranger Things and put season 6 on CBS. The first 5 seasons were amazing. Everybody loved it. We want to be in the Stranger Things business. We're going to buy. Stranger Things is up for sale, and we're going to buy it. And season 6 is going to be on CBS, America's Most Watched Network. And this is what we're paying for it. And then, all of a sudden, 3 of the 5 most famous cast members from Stranger Things, they're no longer in Stranger Things. They go and do another show on a different network. You're like, hold up, we paid for that, but we don't have 4 of the best 6 cast members. We paid for that. We don't have that. Figure out a way to get them back over here. I have no insight, but it would not surprise me at all if CBS was a part of that conversation. Hey, we want Brooks Koepka on our network. We want Bryson DeChambeau on our network. We want Jon Rahm on our network. Figure out a way to get them back on our network. Smooth it over with your current players. Figure out a way to get the stars back over here. Have you seen Bryson DeChambeau's YouTube numbers? We want those to be CBS numbers. This is why sometimes when a football program, basketball program gets in trouble, breaking rules, scandals, all sorts of stuff, you'll hear people suggest they should get a postseason ban and a television ban. Like right now, I promise you there's somebody out there who has tweeted Michigan deserves a television ban for running their football program the way they run their football program. Well, you know why there will never be another television ban? That is the reason people bring it up still today is because it used to be a thing. They would take you off. Your conference might take you off of television. They'd say you can't play on television at all this year. That's part of your punishment. And so people now bring it up as a theoretical punishment all the time. Here's the reason it will never happen again. Because television networks are now paying billions of dollars for these media rights. CBS has a big deal with the Big Ten. So does Fox. Do you think CBS or Fox would allow the Big Ten to take Michigan off of television for a year?
No.
Absolutely not. You fight over trying to get Michigan on your network as much as you can because it's one of the biggest brands in college athletics coast to coast. So there's no punishment where you don't want Michigan on your network. Figure out other ways to punish them if you think you need to, but Michigan not on TV, that's the non-starter. We paid for Michigan. We want Michigan. Same thing's happening here. If you were CBS, ESPN, anybody in the golf business connected to the PGA Tour, you paid for the best golfers in the world. Get them back over here on the PGA Tour. It's happening right now. Brooks Koepka is back, and we'll see what happens with the other stars over at LIV. But the PGA Tour has created a very specific, defined and narrow path for them to come back, and it's only open to 4 golfers total. Only 4 total. One of them has already come back. We'll see what the other 3 do. As always, TBD.
Number 5.
The Celtics lost to the 9-win Pacers last night, and Joe Mazzulla, after the game, got super weird in his post-game press conference. He kept getting asked questions and kept answering them the exact same way. Kyra, if you got it, let's enjoy this together.
Joe, give yourselves a chance to win, I guess. Take us through the last couple possessions.
Illegal screen.
What'd you say?
Illegal screen.
Illegal screen.
Illegal screen.
What fell apart to get you guys behind, and then how were you able to get back?
Illegal screen.
What do you mean by that? What do you want people to know?
Illegal screen.
Would you like to say anything else?
Illegal screen.
Why is he like that?
I don't know. Oh, that's good.
In fairness, it appears that Pascal Siakam did possibly set an illegal screen in the closing seconds. Derek White got knocked off balance, and there's some thought that it was because of an illegal screen from Pascal Siakam. But still, like at some point, you're weirding everybody out, man. Like you're being weird. He's just a weird guy. Like there's 5 different press conference moments where you watch him from Joe Mazzulla and you're just like, man, what's going on with him?
Hey, listen, I guess he's earned the right.
I guess he's earned the right.
Yeah, man.
I guess he's earned the right. So now if the NBA comes in and they want to try to fine him for criticizing officials, he can just say, I didn't criticize officials. I just said illegal screen over and over again.
You're exactly right. He did not criticize anyone. He just said illegal screen.
I said 2 words over and over again, illegal screen. So you were saying that must have been an illegal screen? I wasn't saying I just said 2 words over and over again. I did not criticize the officials. You can find no audio of me criticizing the officials. The only audio you can find is me hilariously and weirdly saying illegal screen over and over again. I reject this fine.
If this works for him and he doesn't get fined, I do wonder if it becomes the norm. Like, hey, that's a good way to get around it. That's a pretty good way to get it. Actually, you know what? Maybe he's not being weird, GP. Maybe this actually makes all the sense in the world. He's avoiding the fine.
Okay. So let's fast forward. Grizzlies Magic Thursday in Berlin. In the closing seconds, one of them Magic players goes over Jaren Jackson Jr.'s back for an offensive rebound putback. Magic win, Grizzlies lose. Tomas Islo comes to post-game press conference. Coach Islo, your thoughts on another heartbreaking loss for your Memphis Grizzlies over the back? Coach Islo, John Morant made his return to the lineup today after missing the previous 5 games for whatever reason. What'd you make of John Morant's effort today over the back? Struggled to shoot from 3, 17 missiles from beyond the arc in the first half. Was it just not getting good looks or something else going on there over the back? I'm for it. Let's do it.
I bet he gets fined.
I actually think you could make a reasonable argument. What are you finding me for?
Sure, he can make a reasonable argument, but
you go find me for being weird, find me for being difficult with the media. I didn't criticize an official. Like, we could take this to Supreme Court if you want to. I did not criticize the official. I mean, he might be trying to get a little too cute with it, but I think you could at least argue it.
Yeah. I'll be interested to see what comes of this, if anything. Because it could. Listen, if he gets away with this one, I could see it happening again.
Coach Islo.
It's creativity, man.
Coach Islo, so now it's off to London for another game with the Magic. What has to happen on Sunday to get a different result over the back? I like it. Let's do it.
I don't hate it either. I don't hate it either. I think it's good.
All right. We got a plan. We got a plan.
Tough loss for the Celtics there.
Over the back.
Yeah.
Be back with GP's carryout.
How are you able to release and have an instrumental song become a huge deal?
And I forget who the disc jockey was, but he put the wrong side on. He put the Green Onions by mistake and played the B side instead of the A side.
No!
And that's when the change happened. These people started to call the station and they play that song again.
The Chris Vernon Show, live on weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
The long goodbye begins. A very special evening with Journey. Final Frontier Tour. Journey. Tickets are on sale now at journeymusic.com. Your chance to say goodbye to the songs that changed our lives. Journey. Final Frontier Tour.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis. Own the 2025-26 Grizzlies season with the 10-game Flex Pack, the ultimate way to catch all the action on your terms. Choose your favorite matchups from intense rivalries to weekend thrillers and customize your pack to fit your schedule. With 10 games to pick, you'll never miss the moments that matter most. Visit Grizzlies.com/packs today to build your perfect ticket pack and cheer on the Grizzlies your way. It's your team, your season, and your schedule. So don't miss out.
The only thing better than Saturday Night Hoops is when it comes with an exclusive Grizz hoodie. Every Saturday this season, $60 gets you a Grizzlies ticket and a limited edition Grizzlies hoodie. 4 different hoodie designs dropping across 4 Saturday games. Not sold anywhere else. Don't miss your shot to collect all 4 designs. Grab your tickets and gear up now at Grizzlies.com/Saturday.
New year, new goals. same unstoppable Grizz grit. Tip off your fitness journey and turn up for the home team with a special offer from Planet Fitness. Grab tickets to any January Grizzlies home game and score an exclusive offer from Planet Fitness. Start 2026 strong by cheering on the Grizzlies and meeting your fitness goals. Don't wait. Lock in your seats and your special offer today at grizzlies.com/January. Offer valid for online ticket purchases only. That's grizzlies.com/January. Let's do carryout.
It's time for GP's Carryout. One final segment filled with stuff to take with you. It's not everything you need to know, but it's most of it. What did we miss today?
We should congratulate James Harden. He has passed Shaquille O'Neal and is now 9th on the NBA's all-time scoring list. Did you know that, Big Bet Bennett? James Harden is a top 9 scorer in the history of the NBA. He is a former. Makes sense. He scores a lot, you know. I mean, when you think about it, it makes sense. He scores a lot. He's been a scoring champ. He will go down in history as, I mean, by definition, as one of the greatest scorers of all time. But, like, as one of the greatest one-on-one players of all time, too. Like, if you just want to play ISO basketball, I bet you can't stop me from putting this in that hoop. James Harden is, really one of the all-time greats at that. And it's wild that so much of his career, to the extent that he would go viral or trend, do you remember, like, early it was like people would just really hyper-focus on him just standing there while people dribbled around him?
Yes.
And that was as much a part of his story as his offensive brilliance was that he doesn't even move on defense, doesn't even try. And I guess that's become less of a fun thing to make fun of on Twitter over the years because I don't see it as much as I used to. But that was the sort of the narrative connected to him for a while. And in reality, he was out there becoming one of the greatest scorers in the history of basketball.
He was SGA before SGA, man. He was the original foul baiter.
He was the original. He was original.
I don't know how much he's doing it anymore. I don't think about it as much anymore when I watch him play. But, man, he used to be so good at the throwing the head back.
Hey, he crawled so SGA could walk.
Yes.
James Harden crawled so Shea Gilgeous-Alexander could walk. Congratulations to James Harden. He's now 9th on the all-time scoring list in the NBA.
What's today's biggest game?
All right, Big Bet Bennett. I'm taking you to college basketball.
Okay.
The Texas A&M is at Tennessee. Food City Sitter, Knoxville. 6 o'clock tip on the SEC Network. Rick Barnes Vols, 9.5-point favorites. The total's 161.5. How you going to act?
9.5, you say? I mean, Texas A&M's having a pretty decent season.
Playing buckyball down there. Buckyball.
Oh, dude, give me the Aggies. They've won 6 in a row. Like, and the Vols have kind of been slipping a little bit. They can stay within 9.5. You said 9.5, right?
I did say 9.5.
Yeah, I think the Aggies can hang in there. I don't think they're gonna. I don't think they're gonna win, but I think they can hang.
Bennett said take Texas A&M plus the 9.5. Again, tip tonight, 6 o'clock, SEC Network.
What are we watching on TV?
So, One Last Adventure, the making of Stranger Things 5, has dropped on Netflix. If you couldn't get enough Stranger Things through 5 seasons, oh, buddy, I got good news for you. Now you can watch a documentary about the making of Season 5 of Stranger Things. Interest you at all? You care?
I might dabble. I have had enough.
You're over it?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's funny. Me and my wife talked about it. It was kind of when it ended. I didn't love the last season. It was fine, but when it did end, we felt kind of sad and empty because that's one of the last shows because it was on for a long time. It's one of the last shows that we kind of were a part of the journey from the very beginning all the way to the end, and I don't really have anything like that right now. So it felt kind of sad when it ended. But do I need more? I don't know, man. I think sometimes you just need to let a good thing end, and we don't need more.
I think this is the way we do things now, right? You make something big, and then you make something showing people how you made that big thing. This is what Taylor Swift does. She goes on the biggest tour of all time, and then they say, hey, here's the final show. Here's the final concert of the Eras Tour. And then you're like, okay, I'll watch that. I like the Eras Tour. I'll watch the final show. So you're like, all right, let's watch that. And you watch that, and you go, man, that was all right. And before you even digest that, it's like, and here's a 5-part documentary on the lead up to the final show of the Eras Tour. And I'm like, all right, I guess I'll watch this too. And next thing you know, I've just consumed like 40 hours of Taylor Swift.
I really mean that they're like, they're probably going to do some spin-offs and stuff like that. And I don't know if we need all that. I'm just being honest.
Spin-offs are great if they're great, but they've got to work. And I don't have the ability to always tell what would work and what wouldn't, because I can remember the first time I heard they were going to do a Breaking Bad spin-off based on the Saul Goodman character from Breaking Bad. I was like, I don't know if I need that. I don't know how that's going to work. But it worked. It was incredible, arguably better than Breaking Bad. So there are some spin-offs that work. Then there's some that don't. If Stranger Things decides to go that route, I wish them luck. In the meantime, either way, you can watch One Last Adventure, The Making of Stranger Things 5. It is on Netflix right now.
What's the best thing we've read?
The top 25 and 1 is updated, CBSSports.com. I wrote about Kansas heading into a big game tonight with Iowa State. Talked about it a little earlier in the show. If you want to read about it, you can find that CBSSports.com.
What's on tap for tomorrow?
Well, tomorrow will be Wednesday. Chris Vernon going to join me like he normally does. We'll be one day closer to Grizz Magic in Berlin, so we'll keep getting you ready for that. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'm going to enjoy mine. Let's meet back here tomorrow at 10. Till then, be careful, be kind, be good. Rep your hood.